Anderson and nationalist MP Eddie McAteer. Although mainly on the university issue, it had been joined to the railway protests by the councils in Omagh. A judicial review was mounted, all to no avail. Closure of the line was ordered for 14th of February 1965, and on the previous day, a Saturday, scheduled trains packed with enthusiasts left Portadown. Had the trains always been so crowded, the outcome might have been very different. At the first stop, Dunne, station employees were still unsure of their future.
Well, apart from the money, I'd like something, another job to keep exercise and keep in the way of life, sort of thing.
With the staff obtained from the signalman giving a clear line to Pomeroy, S-Class 171 Slieve Gullion carried the packed train to Omagh. Here there was a real treat for photographers, as the usually strict railway rules were unofficially relaxed for the day to allow good vantage points on the track close to the engines. Number 170 Errigal gave them a spectacular shot when setting out towards Strabane for the last time. But the photographers were just here for the day.
I don't think even the public up to now don't realise actually what it's going to be like until the railway does actually close. There are some 400 employees of the UTA, the ex-Great Northern Railway, are going to lose their jobs. There is quite a talk of compensation, but for men of 55, 60 years of age, it's going to be very difficult for them to find a new life.
Well, there's only possible chance of how then is getting a late job somewhere, but how we're going to get out of 63 years of age. Well, if the common sense is anywhere good, I'll take the lump sum and get out completely.
Well, where can you look? Like, there's up to 1,000 unemployed in this town, and can't see how I'm going to get a job now.
Well, I don't know. I don't see no future. I mean, there's no, actually nothing else here that you can go to. I mean, there's no work, no factories or nothing.
Strabane hadn't seen such bustling activity for years, with people changing between trains in both directions and fast run-throughs done mainly for the cameras. But the railwaymen here had difficulty in accepting that it was all about to go.
Well, I suppose come as a bit of a shock at the latter end. It always thought it was closed the last 2 or 3 years, but when it come at the latter end, it was still a shock.
As evening came and Errigal drew its heavy load out of Strabane towards Portadown, an era was closing for steam trains also. Benson had recommended that their use be discontinued. The last passenger train into Omagh on the Sunday night was a humble diesel unit with no special ceremony. For just a year, the grass grew long on the Derry Road, until one day a once familiar sound was heard among the hills. The lifting trains had arrived. Dismantling began at the northern end of the line, where the fine Italianate Londonderry Foyle Road station was the first to be demolished. This well-maintained building might have remained an asset to Derry, positioned so close to the city centre and beside the river. Track was soon lifted on the approach to Strabane. The danger signals had to be obeyed now. The bridge which once carried the Donegal lines was going, but Dr. Cox's train still awaited collection. All along the gradually shrinking line, the braking trains brought the little stations to life in a final flourish of activity. The ex-LMS 264Ts, once banned from here as being too heavy, were free to charge about the country almost at will, dismantling as they went. the scrapmen gradually moved eastwards, it became the turn of Dungannon to see its last trains. Even the main station in Portadown was destined to go in order to provide a new fast road to the site of Craigavon city centre. The junctions had gone, so its facilities were not needed. Not needed either was the semicircular engine shed with its fine complement of steam engines, all ready and waiting to set out on the now impossible journeys of their youth. They were now to be valued only in terms of their scrap content. There was little point in their crews looking after them, but pride and tradition made some of them do so, right to the end. Steam engines were difficult to operate and maintain, so they fostered a fraternity. There was fun and companionship, even when the work was dirty, hard, and sometimes dangerous. But these men were now as unneeded as the trains they served. Benson had recommended discontinuing all freight trains, but Portadown was to be included in the new city of Craigavon, which would have Warren Point as its designated port. The sense in closing much of the track, joining them together, and all of the freight depots, was something the railwaymen could never understand. They knew, though, that there was no future for them here. Some had come from outlying stations as they closed. Now, at the centre, there was nowhere to go. Some joined road transport companies. Others took their meagre redundancy payments and did indeed find new lives. Only one of the Derry Road engines was to survive, number 171 Slieve Gullion, now in the care of the Railway Preservation Society of Ireland. Soon the demolition trains moved into the goods yard and construction of a simpler and more convenient station began. Northern Ireland Railways was formed with a new policy of consolidation, but too late for Portadown's position as the crew of Ireland. The fine engine sheds and the branch lines were no more. The victorious roads were waiting to take over. In the years ahead, will it all be forgotten? Will anyone ever walk past these peaceful little houses and down these quiet country lanes and sense the drama once played out here? The rush of steam and steel, children on their way to school, men to fight for king and country, honeymooners on a new life adventure, emigrants fleeing from poverty and hunger, coal from Coal Island and parcels to Pomeroy. It all happened here where the tranquil cattle graze. Could it ever return? It seems unlikely, but railways are having a rebirth. So perhaps one day the sound of an engine working hard on the Carrickmore bank will echo once again around the hills of Tyrone.